Whoa, I hit record it, drop, you can't ignore it. I'm transforming now these cars and planes, I'm always boarding. Just out touring down in Charlotte like I play for Hornets.
Happy New Year evening, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? This is Kendrick Henderson. I am your host, and this is the TFG Sports Show, the best sports show on social media. We're going to give you 30 minutes of the hottest sports topics, some of the good stuff, and we're going to give it to you straight with no chaser. I'm glad to be back. I know you've probably been wondering where I've been, like where he's been. I had to take a little vacation, just like everybody else in the holidays. We'll be back. We're going to get this thing popping for 2022, and we're going to always give you what you want in sports, straight with no chasing. And joining me tonight is my good brothers. To my left is my man, Lee Black. How you doing, Brother Lee?
Good, my brother. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you could join me tonight. And to my right is my man, Kennard Stewart, Vernon Speaks Sports. What's going on, Ken folk? How you doing?
What's going on, man? I'm glad to be on the show tonight. What's up, Lee? Glad to see you.
Same here, my brothers. Happy New Year's.
And hopefully we can get into some of this belligerence that's going on in the sports world tonight.
And we gonna get into it. And we ain't gonna prolong the time. Let's jump right into this first topic. We're gonna talk about the recap of the college football playoff semifinals. We're gonna start off. We're gonna talk about the Alabama, which was number 1, facing the number 4 Cincinnati Bearcats. They were the Cinderella team. They were the first non-Power 5 team to make it to the final four, as we say, on the college football level. And as expected, as I thought it would be, Alabama beat Cincinnati 27-6. Now, it wasn't a trampling. Cincinnati kind of gave them a little bit, but eventually the talent and Alabama's talent just proved to be too much for Cincinnati. First of all, I'm going to start with you, Kennard. What was your thoughts on that game?
Well, I thought Cincinnati came in with a really good game plan. They came in with the 3-3 defense. They took away some of the passing windows from Alabama. So what Alabama did was they took advantage of their running back, Brian Robinson. That's why you probably saw Bryce Young didn't have the Heisman numbers in that game, because Cincinnati was not about to let Bryce Young beat him. If you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us running the football. And that's what it turned out to be. And that's why the game remained kind of close. A lot of people were like, well, why can't Alabama pull away? Well, Cincinnati took a lot of things away from Alabama that they were accustomed to as far as breaking games away. But like you said, the recruiting, the power up front still told the story in the end. I thought it was a good game by Cincinnati. Yes, they did deserve to be there, because Alabama would have beaten a Power 5 team by multiple scores. Yeah. So they deserved to be there. I thought it was a great game. Great game plan by both teams, but Alabama just had more firepower than Cincinnati. Bottom line.
I agree. Black, what's your thoughts on it?
Very similar. I didn't watch the whole game. I watched bits and pieces, but I love the fact that this year there was more parity than we're accustomed to seeing, that Alabama wasn't the dominant powerhouse that we're accustomed to. To me, that made for a better football as a fan, college football fan. So I love the fact that, it wasn't a foregone conclusion that they're going to trample all over them. And so early on, it was a good defensive struggle. As always, the better team is usually going to prevail in the end, because when they figure them out and make adjustments, and come on now, Nick Saban, what do you expect? But the fact that it wasn't just a trampoline, like you said from the very beginning, that made it better for me as a fan. I worked for it a little bit. And once again, I think even maybe for Nick Saban and his team to have to prove themselves a little bit on this stage, I think it probably re-energized him as well.
Yeah, and it was more pressure on Alabama, obviously, to win, because they had the pressure on them. Now, Kennard, you made a good point. The run game was the key to this game. Alabama rushed for 301 yards. Cincinnati only had 74 with Jerome Ford. Brian Robinson Jr. had 29 carries for 204 yards. Bam, there you have it. That's what won this game for Alabama. Them big guys up front was opening them holes, man. What you think that was the big key, Kennard?
I mean, it was a huge key, because like I said before, Cincinnati took away some of the easy passing windows that Bryce Young would have. Bryce Young actually had some success running the football himself. He has shown that he's not. He can run the football. He doesn't particularly like to. But when you run a 3-3 defense to where you kind of have man coverage and you're kind of taking away passing windows, that leaves a lot of leeway for a run game to be successful. And I think Alabama prepared for that. They did an excellent job of executing that. And it just shows the respect that Nick Saban has for his opponents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Superior talent. He could have beat him even if he wouldn't have made those kind of adjustments. But he took the time to study film to say, hey, we're going to take what the defense gives us. And the defense gave him the run game, and they took full advantage of it. And they popped some passes here and there to break their backs. And that's what won the game. Cincinnati deserved, like I said before, deserved to be there because they had a good football team. They did what any other Power 5 football team would have done. Notre Dame, Clemson, they would have gotten blown out too. But I think Cincinnati came in with a very good game plan and proved that they deserve to be there.
Black, what you think about that?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I really like about this is that for so many years, the sexy positions in football have always been the wide receivers, of course, the quarterback, things like that. I think over the last few years, we're starting to see more respect be paid to, not just the running back position, but the O-line. And so when the draft comes, you're seeing some of these guys now get paid what they've been worth, because when you think about it, the quarterback, can't do what he does unless he's protected. And again, opening up those holes, because I think over the last 5 years, we've been seeing running back by committee. And so to see Nick Saban kind of execute this, I like the fact that he's bringing that old school back and glorifying that position. That for me is what's making football more exciting to me right now than basketball. So that's for me.
And as you mentioned that, Lee, I think the position that has been kind of off the cuff is the tight end position. Georgia and Alabama are taking full advantage of the tight end position and adding a little bit more leverage as far as what they can do offensively with the tight end.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining us, second son. So there you have it. Alabama defeated Cincinnati 27-6 in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. They're going to be in the national championship game coming up on January 10th. And this will be the second time. This will be the second national title in a row that Alabama is seeking. And guess who they're playing? I said it. Kennard, our last show we had together, I said it was going to be a rematch. They playing Georgia. Georgia put the smackdown on Michigan 34-11 in the Capital One Orange Bowl. Stetson Bennett had a much better game than we last saw him in the SEC championship game. He went 20 for 30, 313 yards and 3 touchdowns. And that Georgia defense showed that they still are them dogs. Lee, what you think about this Georgia-Michigan matchup?
Well, I loved it, and it was what I pretty much expected, but I'm Roll Tide all the way. I'm sorry. Always have been, always will be, but it makes for a great matchup, and, styles make fights, as they say, and so I think this is going to be really exciting. I like the fact that in this instance, to me, I think Alabama's coming in, with a lot of question marks, and then Georgia always plays them very, very well. So I think this is it's set up to be a really, really good finish.
Yeah, I agree. Kennard, your thoughts?
Well, here's my issue with this. Where I talked to a lot of Georgia fans about the Michigan game. I told them, hey, you don't need to worry about whether Georgia will play Michigan well or not, or even win the football game, because I think Georgia is a great team against good teams. Michigan was a good team. I think where you have the problem with Georgia is stacked in every position possible, but you still got the question mark at the quarterback. Yes, Stetson Bennett had a very good football game against Michigan, but there was zero pressure.
Yeah.
He was never behind. He was never in a situation to where he had to bring the team back against the Heisman quarterback. And when you talk about a walk-on quarterback, there is a mentality that comes with that. I don't care what you say. If you're a walk-on quarterback, you've never been in that type of pressure type situation, because everything is always in your favor because you're the hometown hero. But when the chips fall and when you have to perform like as if you were a Power 5 quarterback, then that's when things start to happen. I feel like in this, I know we're just kind of dancing over the Georgia-Michigan game. I knew they would beat Michigan.
Yeah.
My problem is this. Georgia's going into Alabama game with the same quarterback and with the same quarterback who's going to have the same levels of adversity, and 3 weeks are not going to change his mentality. I think it's going to be I'm not going to predict the score or a win, but it's going to be a serious challenge if Georgia gets behind. He can't bring them back. He just can't.
Okay, y'all heard it. That's an Auburn guy right there, guys. He's War Eagle, so he knows that SEC. And Black lives in Georgia, so hey, there you go. They did. You're right. Aiden Hutchinson was kept in check. There wasn't much pressure on Stetson Bennett. Michigan wasn't able to get a lot of pressure on him, so it's not going to be like that again when he plays Alabama. Just another fact about this matchup coming up. This is the second time Alabama and Georgia would play in a college football playoff national championship. The Tide won 26-23 in overtime in Atlanta back in 2017. So there's the matchup for the college football championship. We got Alabama and Georgia, just like I predicted. Thanks for joining, Lamar, for watching. Thanks for joining, bro, Second Son. Now, let's move on to the NFL recap week 17 real quick. We're going to roll through this because, we got to talk about that dude. We got to talk about what happened on Sunday.
I already know.
Cowboys lost 22-25 to the Cardinals. Offense still looks a little bit out of sync. I don't know that at this point. I don't know how much they can fix with that. But they lost Michael Gallup, one of their main receivers for the year. He tore his ACL. What you guys think about the Cowboys? What's your thoughts on them?
Well, from the outside looking in, I'm not a real NFL head, but what I'm seeing from the outside looking in, and this is a perfect opportunity for the Dallas Cowboys to take advantage of the fact that there's a lot of parity in the NFL this year. You have a lot of teams that, have losing or 500% records that can actually sneak into the playoffs. So I think if the Cowboys are going to be successful, I think they got to take advantage of the fact that there's so much parity in the NFL this year. They have a roster to stack. They have a really nice defense, comparatively speaking, to their opponents. So I think the Cowboys will be fool's gold for their fans. I think they're not as good as teams that they would have competed against maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But this is an opportunity that I think the Cowboys have to take advantage of. Similar to, we're going to bring the Georgia Bulldogs back into the conversation. Georgia had the opportunity to have already had a national championship in their fold. The SEC East was down, so they had an easy path to the SEC championship. All they had to do is get it done, and they didn't. I think Dallas Cowboys are in that similar situation to where they got kind of a more non-beaten path to get to the playoffs. And I think if they're going to take advantage of it at any time, now has to be the time.
Well, they're going to have a hard one because they got to go through Green Bay. Everybody got to go through Green Bay because they're the number 1 seed. They already clinched that. So anybody that get there, they got to go to Lambeau. Black, your thoughts?
And you said the magic phrase. I think Aaron Rodgers is on the path to destiny.
Rashawn Grant says Dallas would take it all. I don't think so, but I hear you, brother.
I love to hear Dallas fans. I'm in the same wing as Stephen A. Smith. They are who we think they are. They can't get out their own way. Talent-wise, this is one of the most talented teams that Dallas has had. Mm-hmm. And at times, the way they play, they could beat anybody, in my personal opinion. Anybody, but they're inconsistent. They question themselves. They're not a smart football team either. They beat themselves with mistakes from coaching errors, with not holding enough timeouts, to who they send in, some of the plays they run. Yeah. It's very frustrating. And I'm not even a Dallas fan to sit and watch them week after week, because when you see all the talent on the field, they have the talent to beat anybody. And they should be dominating their division. But like you said, regardless of that, they still got to go through Green Bay. And I have a thing that I think Aaron Rodgers, in the same spirit of Tom Brady, he's going to win MVP, and he's going to go out with a title, barring an injury. And so, with that said, Dallas is great, but in the end, they're gonna. What's the gentleman who was on there? He's gonna break your heart like always.
let me read some of these comments. Sharetta, thanks for joining us, Sharetta. LaRon says Cowboys, it won't be now. Okay, all right. Miss Devin said, I already know what you gonna say, Devin. Hey fellas, how about them Cowboys? I got you, Devin. Sharetta Lee, Dallas Cowboy, DC for life. Most talented. Now 90s was the best. Got you. I can go with that. Second son, what's up, bro? Go Pack, go. Look at all these fans. That's all we had to do was talk about the NFL. Go Pack, go. Second son. John Pitts, Devin, LaRon. Okay, so man, everybody jumped on. And I always know Cowboys they get eyes. People want to know how they're gonna do. You either love them or hate them. That's right. The big thing with the Cowboys. So we're gonna wrap this up. Just give you guys know what the seedings are as of today. In the AFC, the Titans is the number 1 seed. The Chiefs is the number 2 seed. The Bengals the number 3 seed. The Bills the number 4 seed. The Patriots the number 5 seed. The Colts are the number 6 seed, and the Chargers are the number 7 seed. That's the AFC playoff seedings right now. NFC, Packers already locked up the number 1 seed. Rams, number 2 seed. The Bucs are the number 3 seed. The Cowboys, number 4 seed. The Cardinals are the number 5 seed. The 49ers are the number 6 seed. And the Eagles are the number 7 seed. And we only got 1 week left in the regular season. So that is our NFL recap for week 17. Now we get ready to move on to Charles Moore says, if you're still a Cowboy fans, it's 2022, grow up. And that's coming from a 49ers fan. We know, Charles, we got you. So we're going to move on to our guy, Mr. Producer. Just go ahead and roll the tape. All right. Kennard, is that your first time seeing that video?
Oh, no, I've seen it. I've seen it a couple of times.
What's up, Britton? Thanks for joining us. What's your thoughts, Kennard?
I think a lot of people throw the whole mental illness and CTE. I think they throw that out there a lot, and then now it's starting to become a justification for why individuals behave the way that they do. There's some inside things that are going on with that particular player and the program that led him to say, screw this. This is not where I need to be. I'm willing to take my damn jersey off. It's damn 20 below zero in New Jersey. I'll get back to Tampa or wherever I live the best way that I can. There's some underlying causes as to why this did happen. I think society using the mental health dialogue is actually taken away from people who are really suffering from mental health. Right. I don't want to judge the guy because I'm at no liberty to do this. And Charles, that's bullshit because he was injured or something else happened along the way to where it didn't have to come down to this game for him to reach that incentive.
Yeah, that was already
we can't play that card either.
Yeah.
You as a professional, my job, I can't do that. I don't give a damn what I'm going through mentally. Lee, you can't get on the phone and say, hey, screw you. You can go to another doggone school just because you're having a mental health day. There's a line of professionalism that just shouldn't be crossed. And all of the non-accountable people that's going to use the conspiracy theories and all that other stuff, that is just horrible behavior, period. No matter what the cause was, you don't do that professionally.
Black, your thoughts on that?
I couldn't agree with you more, Brother Kennard. I couldn't agree with you more. And I think this is symptomatic of what's wrong with us as a society in general. That we become victims and we want to be victims. And I love the fact that you showed how in the real world, because let's be honest here, folks, The NFL is a bubble, and we don't want to confuse that with reality. It's a good old boys club. It's a private club, a private entity where a bunch of talented individuals are paid a shitload of money to do a job. So I'm sorry, for me, it stops right there in terms of sympathy. When you sign up, you sign to get your paycheck, and you show up every Sunday, you're required to play. At the end of the day, we've become a society where we give too much of a damn about all the background noise. Now, I'm not saying the brother doesn't have mental issues. That's fine. But when you show up to collect that paycheck, the expectation is that you're going to perform at the highest level, because we all have to do it. We all have to conform. And as Brother Kennard said, I don't get to show up and have a bad day and piss off my students and faculty, and it's okay, but they're playing in this bubble. And what happened to accountability? Yes, clearly he may have some issues. He clearly has some issues and everything, but don't we all? I made this point last night on the Brenton Haynes show. Don't we all? I tell people this all the time. I could match your horror story tit for tat if you want to go there. You know what I'm saying? But the man sitting in front of you had to raise himself from all of those things, growing up in the ghetto, living in conditions, being raped, all of those things. It makes me who I am and makes me get up every day and show up at work and do my job. And so I'm not being paid a shitload of money to do it. I'm scratching and making ends meet. But at the end of the day, you have to be accountable for your own actions. And we've lost all accountability as a society. And it's easier to be victims and to throw the easy cards in there. We got catchphrases because of Me Too and mental illness. Everybody's mentally ill. And it does take away from people who are truly suffering from conditions that really need help. And so I'm sorry, I just don't have any sympathy for this.
Yeah, and Charles says something. AB hasn't been right since he got hit by Burfict in that playoff game. That happened back in 2016, and that may be some part of it. But I mean, he was still doing crazy stuff even after that. I mean, players get hit in the head all the time, but they don't act out and be unprofessional. I think he has to hold some accountability for his actions as well. It's just ironic that he wasn't that upset. He ended up going to a Brooklyn Nets game after he left the game. So now tell me, I don't. That's okay. How do you look at that? It's like, okay, I ain't got a problem with him quitting, but it's a way that you do things. Now the story was that he told the offensive coaches that he was injured. His ankle still didn't feel right. But if that's the case, you ran off the field like you was running a 40-yard dash if your ankle wasn't feeling right. So my thing is, could this been handled differently? Yeah, but I hold AB accountable for his actions, regardless of whatever is going on with him, which I do think he does need help. LaRon says before the next team pick him up, he needs to go see a counselor. But because these talented teams don't care, then he blows up. And that's true. He's been taken care of. I mean, there's been incidents when he was in Pittsburgh that Mike Tomlin covered for him. When he went live on Instagram doing some private halftime after a game. He went live on social media and just things that he's been covered up from. So eventually we got to hold these people accountable for their actions and do not blame it on a disease that some people really are having issues with. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
And DJ Sullivan says, Miss Horn said, Valerie says, we got all the comments. Yeah, people use mental health as an excuse now. They can't even spell CTE. Valerie Horn says he has to be held accountable for his behavior. It's time. And that's true. Now, we're going to leave this there. Last thing I'm going to say about this. He hasn't been officially released. He is technically still a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Due to contracts and all that, they have to work through that before the Buccaneers can officially release him, or they may decide to keep him. I will say that Coach Arians said that he still care for him. Tom Brady, who's been his biggest spectator, who took him in and let him live in his house, said we need to be, show some empathy and compassion. And I get that. I do. I don't want to see the brother. I don't want to see the brother out here messed up. But I also know that he shouldn't have did what he did on Sunday. That was crazy. I'm just saying. Not in the mental health crazy way. He was just throwing a temper tantrum. That's just my opinion. So, all right, Antonio Brown. All right, brother. We hope you get it together, man. We rooting for you. So, That's
Yes,
from
sir.
TFG Sports. All right, we're gonna get down to our final thought. Well, I'm jumping the gun. Got to talk about John Madden. I know everybody knows who this great late pioneer, the king of broadcasting. He won 16 Emmys, award-winning broadcaster, Super Bowl winning coach, was in the booth for over 30 years, where we lost him on last Tuesday at the age of 85. But I know he's most known for, guess what? EA Sports Madden.
Yep.
Kennard, I don't know if you're a Madden guy or not. What's your thoughts on in memory of Mr. Coach John Madden?
Man, back in I want to say '92, my aunts, I actually pressured them because I was getting a Sega Genesis that year. It was Christmas Eve, and I knew I was getting the new Madden game, and I pressured them into allowing me to open my gifts that night, Christmas Eve. I kept pushing them. God rest both of their souls. They were my twin aunts, and they always just kind of, you know, whenever I started pouting and all that other stuff, they gave in. But that was my first introduction to Madden, and that was before the college football games came out on video games, and the rest is history. That was during the Tech. That was like the tail end of the Tecmo Bowl days.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then that kind of
That's
led
my
into
era. Yeah.
John Madden, because as a guy with the video, I didn't know about John Madden like that until I knew of him tangibly as the football, as far as
the broadcaster. Yeah, because
no. I knew of him with the doggone games, the video.
Oh, with the games. So not even as the broadcaster.
So I had to reach back and realize that the history of John Madden, as the games don't even scratch the surface of what he meant to NFL football.
Exactly.
So the NFL lost a legend, just like DJ Sullivan says. The NFL, a piece of the NFL puzzle of history, will be capsuled at his funeral whenever he's buried this week. And you just can't bring that kind of stuff back.
Right. What's your thoughts, Black?
Again, we throw around the title so loosely, legend and icon, and so few people truly live up to that moniker. And to hear Kennard take me back, I'm 54. I'll be 54 years old tomorrow. Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy early birthday, brother. Happy early born day. Yeah.
And to see the comments and they talk about these game systems, and I've never really been a gamer, but to see the Sega Dreamcast and the N64, and then you talk about, Tecmo Bowl and all this kind of stuff. I used to be a manager at Toys R Us, for several years. And so one of the perks of being a manager working for Toys R Us is I had every game system you could think of, literally. And although I was never a gamer, but what's so amazing about this and the fact that he's a legend and icon, we're talking about something that was back in the 80s and 90s, and it's 2022. So you're talking about something that has survived for decades. And the fact that Kennard says that he knew him more for gaming than what he actually did in football. So this man has 3 iterations of legend. 3, on the football field, as a broadcaster, and then in gaming. So the epitome of legend and icon. And I just think about when it comes to what we do with our name and who we are. And it just speaks volumes that you can't find anybody to say anything negative about him.
Right.
That's a life well lived.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
It's for sure. Definitely for sure. And just to put a little bow on it, the EA Sports Madden games have sold over 200 million copies since 1988. So his legacy will live on. Even though he may be physically gone, we're going to always have him on the Madden games, and we're going to always have the video. And YouTube, YouTube, you can always go pull up some John Madden and listen to some of the games he called. So rest in peace, Mr. Madden, gone but never forgotten. So now we down to our final thoughts. My brothers, Kennard, what you got? Final thoughts.
Well, I'm going to make it quick. I got Georgia's going to struggle again. I'm not going to say they're going to lose, but they're going to have a hard time. 2, I think Antonio Brown and the community at large need to start to embrace accountability and don't always have this whole conspiracy theory when people do stupid shit. He did stupid shit, so he needs to pay for it. I think John Madden, like I said before, like you all have said, I think his legend, his impact, to be able to have impact for almost 60, I don't know, that I can't even tell you the year span that his impact has over a generation of people. That's a time capsule when it's all said and done, and when his casket is lowered. That's a piece of American history that can be cherished on so many levels. And the last thing I want to say is War Eagle.
I knew it was coming. I was waiting on it. Black, what you got, brother? Talk to me.
I just want to be thankful for sports. We at the very beginning of 2022, there's so many real life things happening that could bring us down and give us cause for worry. We're almost at the year anniversary of January, 6th. We've got an oncoming election. We got a lot of problems in America. What I love about sports is, just for a little while, it gives us the suspended animation that everything's okay.
Yep.
And it takes us away and gives us just that little bit that we need to be functioning, sane adults. And so I'm loving the fact that, that for a little while, this is going to be a respite to get away from all of the normal minutia and BS that we have to deal with in our everyday lives. But I don't want to forget that sports is also a microcosm of what's going on in the real world. So don't get caught up in it too much. Recognize it for what it is. It's entertainment, and it has a place. It has a value. It does increase the quality of our life. And so enjoy it for what it's worth. It's a great way to start to year off and to take our minds off of everything that we have to deal with in real life. And so I am going to be along for the ride.
Hey, I appreciate that, brother Black. And LaRon Hughes is on. He say Bama is gonna win again. Georgia secondary to suspect. So he's saying Bama's gonna win another national championship. I'm not ready to say that just
yet. They
are.
are.
But I think you're right, LaRon. I think you might be right. My final thoughts is we got the NFL winding down to the week 18. And all I'm gonna say is everything comes through. Everybody gonna come see us in Lambeau. That's all I'm gonna say on that. So on that note, Kennard, tell them where they can find you, brother.
You can find me on Vernon Speak Sports. We talk about Auburn football pretty much every single day on average. Even if I don't talk about it, you see the number of videos that I've done. It equals to about 2 to 3 videos per day over the last 2 years. Like the videos, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speak Sports Auburn. And down in the Deep South, college football is king, and the battle cry is War Eagle.
All right, Charles Moore, you know I ain't messing with you tonight. Black, tell them where they can find you, brother.
You can find me every Monday on the Brenton Haynes Show discussing politics. You can find me on the TFG TV network discussing the his and hers perspective. And then I host my own show on Sundays and Wednesdays called Real Talk for Real Men. I'll be celebrating my birthday edition tomorrow night at 8 o'clock.
Wow.
Hope you join me.
All right, guys, y'all heard it first here, and make sure you come see your boy, yes, host with the most, Kendrick Henderson on TFG Sports Media here every Tuesday at 6:30. Fellas, thanks for joining me, and on that note, we out. Peace.
Yes, sir.
That money clip us